Welcome back to another Fort Aspenwood video. Here we are playing on the Luxon side, and today I'm running a Healing Light Monk. So Healing Light is not an elite that I normally run, but I decided to run it for this game. It does only cost 5 energy and has 4 recharge, and it heals for about 96 health, I think. So pretty good. 1 second cast time, and if my ally is enchanted, then I gain 3 energy. So here I'm kind of spamming Vigorous Spirit on my allies to make sure that they're enchanted. And then my healing should be pretty easy. Shouldn't cost me too much energy. But I also brought Signet of Rejuvenation, so energy-free healing spell, as well as Patient Spirit. And then for my condition and hex removals, I have draw conditions. Now granted, I can't remove conditions for myself, but honestly, it's usually not that big of a deal. The only condition I really have to worry about is daze. And of course, if I have Deep Wound and I'm taking a lot of damage, that does add a lot of pressure, but with Dark Escape as my stance, that will take off some pressure pretty significantly, right? It reduces all damage by half. Then I can also cast Spirit Bond, so if I take more than 50 damage, I get healed for about 62 health or so. So, pretty good. Here we are, just clearing through the orange gate. I only have these 2 teammates here, this warrior and this elementist, but they're doing a pretty good job, as well as my turtle here that I'm making sure to keep alive. Most of my casting here is being done on my 40-40 healing set. Especially with a 1 second cast time for Healing Light, it's nice to have a 40-40 set to get in those quicker cast times. And honestly, Holy Veil is not usually a hex removal skill that you see a lot anymore. It was very popular back in the day in random arenas with monks, because you would face a lot of hexes, and by casting this on yourself initially or on an ally, then casters will take twice as long to actually cast a hex on them or you, and then you can just remove it, right? And then the hex gets removed right away by removing Holy Veil. Now the downside, of course, is that I have -1 energy regeneration, so you have to use it a little bit strategically and know when you have it up, know when you're running low on energy. But luckily here in most of this game, I'm not really being targeted. You can see my positioning is typically behind my allies, behind the Siege Turtle as well. And positioning makes a big difference, right? In Guild Wars, in PvP, you have front line, you have a mid line, and you have back line, right? As a monk, you should be in the back line. Then you'll be targeted less by enemies, right? One, it's going to be harder for melee enemies to actually reach you. And then oftentimes casters too, they'll just cast on whoever's closest to them and not necessarily the monk. Here too, we have a pretty good team setup. You can see we have 2 monks, and we both split sides, so only 2 other players went with me on the orange side. Typically in Fort Aspenwood, you would do a 4-4 split, 4 players on the orange side and 4 players on the purple side, but it's not always done that way, and here it worked out okay. But again, we have a pretty good team setup, a good mixture of damage and also healing. So while Healing Light may not be a very meta skill, it definitely comes in handy in these sustained kind of battle situations where I need to keep on healing, and every time I do, my ally has a enchantment on them, I get 3 energy. So it's pretty good. There you can see draw conditions that I just used on that Elementist. That's key timing. Whenever you see that deep wound, you gotta immediately draw the condition. So, you know, have a key that you're used to pressing, because when they're getting spiked and they have deep wound, take that off first and then worry about the heals. Of course, if they're getting spiked very heavily, then Spirit Bond is your friend. Then if they take more than 50 damage, they'll get 62 health or something like that. Alright, we've broken through green, and we're just charging on forward. Even the Flesh Golem kind of leading the way, with some Bone Fiends behind him. Another draw condition. Important to try to keep your melee characters too condition free, just in case of blind or weakness. But here we go, that's it. Easy as that. Gunther is going down here in just a second. Their team is totally overwhelmed, and our team is not taking much damage at all. So there we go, Gunther is dropping, and that's GG. So thanks for watching, guys, and stay tuned for more content.